Nobody is asking the right question. In the modern world, the government and the media, both legacy and online, they are the ones determining what the questions are. And then everyone is simply reacting emotionally and running to one of two camps, either A or B, not even stopping to think, wait a minute, isn't there a better question to ask? What about other options? I've made the allegation for a long time that there's a very large group of people operating solely from a place of emotion, while simultaneously believing that they're thinking. And that's the real trap. When you add emotion to any event or any piece of information, it makes it unforgettable. A great example is when you're young and you meet that first boyfriend or girlfriend. Virtually everyone can remember this, no matter how long ago it was. But sometimes things that have happened 3 and 4 and 5 years ago, can't recall it at all. When you add that emotional component, it makes whatever piece of information stick in the brain for a longer period of time. Logical fallacies are rampant right now. In today's video, I'm going to walk everyone through a thought exercise that will illustrate the difference between thinking and feeling. And once we get through the exercise, everyone at the end is going to probably have a bit of a different perspective on what's really going on with the government right now. Logical fallacies are where we use emotions only to make decisions. No logic, no thought, not perusing, not sleeping on it, so to speak. It takes advantage of an audience's emotions and blinds them to the actual truth. Some people believe there are thinkers out there and there are feelers out there. Everybody has thoughts and everybody has feelings. What the media and the government is trying to do is to manipulate your emotions so that you don't stop and think for very long. That's why they keep changing what's on the headlines every day, every 2 days, every 3 days. What's important now isn't important 3 days from now. What's important 3 days from now won't be important 2 weeks later. And I actually have some evidence for this. This is from Tether. And this person relates a story where their mentor basically told them that their feelings weren't feelings and that their thoughts weren't thoughts. I'll give you the link to this and you can read it. It says, I will never forget the first time my mentor asked me how I was feeling. I answered that, quote, I feel like I am not good enough. She quickly responded, quote, that is a thought, not a feeling. And then once you read through this, you'll see how this mentor manipulates this person into believing that thoughts don't matter. Actual logic doesn't matter. Some people think they're left-brained. Some people think they're right-brained. Anybody who's ever played guitar or done music knows that there's a creative side, of course, but if you don't have a command of numbers and math, music will never click for you. So you've got to kind of work both sides of the brain. Now, showing an image like this immediately, right now, sends people into one of two camps. Both camps are emotional. Some people see the vaccine and they have an immediate revulsion to it. And some people look at it and go, oh, that's the most fantastic thing ever. But both are just emotional responses. And both people believe that the reason that they're having that emotion is based on the fact that they've thought about something. Now, here's the exercise. This is the thought exercise. Let's say you and a group of friends all just don't want to get vaccinated. And you're willing to go to the extent of taking all of your belongings and going and living out in the wilderness and leaving society and creating your own survival group. All of your friends, your family, your kids, you've decided, it's just not for us. And if this is what we have to do, this is what we'll do. We'll put all of our survival skills to the test, and we will do everything we can to survive completely outside of society. Now, I'm sure this is ringing a bell with a lot of people, because I'm sure a lot of people out there have thought about this. Is this what's going to be forced if we continue to not want to be vaccinated? Will this be the result? Okay, let's continue the thought exercise. Let's say one person in your group is charged with going out and finding food, or let's say there's 2 or 3. Others are in charge of security, others are in charge of different tasks to make survival something that's livable. There's going to have to be division of labor. So you have this guy, and this is just a stock picture. And his job is to go out and find as much food as possible. Other people go and find water, others go find wood, others medical stuff. But this guy, his job is food. That's his job. So every night, he comes back, and he's got a few kind of old pizza boxes and some other things. And you ask this person, where are you getting this food? He says, well, I know of this pizza place over there at the edge of the woods in this little town, and sometimes they have mistakes, and sometimes they have leftovers that have been untouched, and so, they kind of feel for my situation, and so they leave them outside the back door. And so I thought, well, beggars can't be choosers, so I just take whatever they give. And there's another restaurant on the other side of the square that if I wash their dishes for a few hours off the clock, they'll give me some other things. And every single night, this guy comes back and he has food. It's not great, it's not fantastic, but it's edible, and no one goes to bed hungry. Now, here's what's really going on. One day, one of your group decides to follow the guy because it just seems too good to be true. And they go in and they see that the guy is actually working at the restaurant. And they ask him, what are you doing? And he says, well, I saw that everybody was starving. I saw that everybody was going without and suffering. And so I decided, for the benefit of the whole group, I would secretly go get vaccinated. I wasn't going to tell anybody, but I actually work at this place now because they were able to hire me. And I bring all this food back to the survival group because if just one of us has the ability to operate within society, that one can take care of the rest. And yeah, I still agree with you guys. I don't like what's in the vaccine, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. But I thought it would be a better choice for everyone, for the group, if I sacrificed this myself, my own distaste, my own dislike of the vaccine, I put aside to help the group. Now, some people would have basically an error 404 moment, because they'd have to ask themselves the question, well, what the guy did was a hell of a sacrifice. But do I like the guy? Do I dislike the guy? Do I agree with him? Do I not agree with him? Because his heart was in the right place. He was trying to do a good thing, and everybody else didn't have to get vaccinated. So they didn't have to put aside their discomfort. And some would say, well, he took the mark of the beast or whatever and all this kind of stuff. Well, once again, another sacrifice. John 15. This is my commandment, that ye love one another. As I have loved you, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. It's hard to dislike the guy, even though he lied. He lied and he did something that you wouldn't have done. and you thought he was of the same mind, and really he is of the same mind, because once again he says, I still don't like it, but I would rather do this to take care of all of these people. You see, it was more distasteful for me to watch people starve and go without and kids go hungry and have a bad life. It was more distasteful for me to see that continue than it was for me to make this one sacrifice for the greater group. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to change anybody's minds here. But it also says, and now abideth faith, hope, and charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity. Earlier in Corinthians, it says that you could have faith to remove mountains, but if you have not charity, you are nothing. So this would be something that would stop people for just a minute, I believe, on both sides. And they would stop feeling for a minute, and then they would think. Because let's say you're for the vaccine. You would think, wow, these people would go to this extent? These people would go to this extent? Maybe I should think about this more. Maybe I shouldn't dislike these people so much. And those who are against it, when they thought about their friend who made that sacrifice for them, maybe they would not react so viscerally, because what the person was doing was charity, causing himself distress and grief to make things better for everyone else. These are the questions we need to ask. And like I said, whatever your opinion is what your opinion is. But when we start asking the right questions, then we can start going forward. God bless, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys later.